Hi, welcome to the Concept 101 podcast. My name is Daniel,
Stefan,
and Jules.
We are three concept artists working in the film and games industry, as well as the organisers of the Concept 101 event in London. In today's episode, we'll mainly be talking about VR, which is a fun, kind of more casual episode we're having, I think, today. And before we do start as well, we just took like 10 tries to redo the opening because we were all laughing over nothing.
We just keep laughing. That's how professional we are.
Yeah. We're very professional.
Apparently saying our names is the funniest thing ever.
You can't make me start giggling again.
Oh, it's fine. But yeah. So please hear us out laugh for absolutely no valid reason.
I was nearly crying earlier because I tried to get through it, and I have to do the whole intro, and Jules just went, Jules, and then started laughing. He couldn't even get through his name. Oh my god!
And so much pressure at the start of an episode. I'm like, how am I gonna say my name? I'm gonna say it's Jules or just Jules or
Jules.
Well, what I did was like it's Jules, which wasn't on purpose.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so VR, I guess.
Man.
I would just like to say, who got Daniel? Maybe we can start with like, how did we all got introduced into VR?
That's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Stefan.
So my introduction to VR was very weird, but basically I have a friend Arlan who I met in university, and we used to work a lot in the university library at night and stuff, and he would bring his VR headset there, and this was like
really
yes, and it was the one that back then you
early
always
HTC Vive, probably.
No, it was still
so
Oculus.
expensive. This one, no, it was like
actually I don't remember.
I think his one. I know
Maybe,
he got an Oculus eventually. Arlen, if you're listening, comment down below because we can't remember. But anyway,
it was like
we need more comments.
quite an old
we need
version.
more comments, Arlen, please.
Everyone tell what VR is.
Yeah, and he told me, he's like, oh, you want to try it? I'll show you something really cool. So he logged. You could have Google Maps on there. I don't know.
Right.
So he went into the Google Maps and into like the 3D part. What is it called?
Street View.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he basically put me on top of like Mount Everest or something. No, but it was so cool. Like I put on the headset and I like looked around, and I was like, wow, I'm around the Everest, And then he said like turn around and there was like a sunset there. And I was like, what the heck is this stuff? And yeah, and then he explained to me and then he showed me like, oh, and you can like look at a city as well. And I don't know, I was really mind blown. And then
I'm kind of imagining this being like when a monkey sees itself in the mirror. You're like, where am I? Take me back.
It's really mind blowing to like see when you first time try it, and then we tried the VR modeling, and I'm sure we'll talk about like the different softwares and stuff like that. But I think that was like my introduction into VR was like looking like from Mount Everest at like a sunset.
That's pretty cool. That's a pretty epic way to start.
Yeah. And I think Arlan was very proud of like coming up with the idea of how to introduce me to VR. He's like, well, I have this idea. You have to do this.
I mean, so then, as if it was a domino effect, Stefan then introduced me to using VR. So we had just met at Vertex when that was still a thing. And
so you just met on Mount Everest.
Yeah, we just met on Mount Everest, yeah. He turned around and it wasn't just the sunset, it was me as well. But yeah, we met at Vertex, and I honestly can't remember why, but he came around to make pancakes at my house. So there you go. Stefan's got an innate ability to just break into my house, it seems.
Dude, I remember like...
I mean, you live together now.
We live together, exactly.
I was this close from leaving London. I was on the train station. Like, I have to go back to uni, I have to study, I cannot miss a day of studying. Like, I mean, that's like how I was back then. And someone...
Listen to episode 3 of the Concept 101 podcast.
Yeah. And someone told me, I think it was Juan, or like, because I think Juan, he had to go back to uni. I don't know if he only had like tickets for a certain time, I don't remember. But maybe I had a flexible ticket. And then... he said, okay, you should really stay in London. And I stayed, and I think I messaged Daniel being like, yo, can I come around and can we hang out? And Daniel was like,
I'll make pancakes.
Well, we were already making pancakes.
Yeah.
And then Stefan came and joined in with the pancake making. And his offering for the pancakes was that he brought his VR headset with him, and I got to try out Gravity Sketch for the first time, which is something I use like so much.
Yeah.
And it was pretty crazy. It was pretty mind-blowing stuff. I mean, just the ease of use and how, I don't know, like engaging it was as well was awesome. And then I'm gonna take credit for this. I feel like I introduced Jules to VR.
No.
Do you?
Yeah, no, come on.
No.
Jules, come on, let me have this, man.
I think you made me buy one.
Okay, that's good enough.
Yeah. Which is when the first. So I'm gonna go a bit back further because it's linked to concept art.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I really understood VR was a good tool, or like could be a very nice tool. It was industry workshops a long time ago.
At my lecture, yeah.
And Jama did a demo where he was having his VR and he was sculpting a crazy mech or like a skeleton in like 2 seconds. Obviously, being Jama, being insane talented, he was doing this very super cool thing. And me being also very young, I was totally amazed by it. And I was like, wow, so cool. And then I haven't really seen it in a while, but I had in mind that insanely skilled artists were using it. But that was like 7 years ago, right? And then I was doing some freelance job as well for some company, and they had a VR headset which I was able to try.
Oh,
so I tried the Knights game, you know, where you have to fight and kill people with swords.
one of the best, probably.
Yeah, I think it's the one you have as well.
Swords and Sorcery.
Probably, yeah. I tried that. It was pretty fun. And then that was pretty much it until then I got a job in the industry and I started to talk and met you guys and understood that VR actually was much more than I had remembered from the many years ago, and that it had actually become now not a tool for pioneers like Jama is, or especially was with VR so many years ago, but that it actually had democratized and many people, most artists now actually use and own.
I feel like most is an exaggeration, but
many own, maybe not most use.
Yeah,
many have a VR headset.
Stefan.
And
we'll get to that,
and then I guess the next time I properly tried it was at Daniel's place. We played some games, and I just kept seeing both these guys, Steph and Daniel, doing stuff in VR, and seeing some meshes that to me would be quite complicated or quite long to do in Blender, which would take them like half an hour or an hour. And I was like, oh wow, okay, so there's something definitely that I'm missing on that, which can bring value to VR.
Yeah.
And then I made a choice to buy one, actually quite recently, only like 3 months ago. But I've used it. I've used it.
Like all your personal projects.
All the personal
actually, all my personal projects. It just, I mean, we're going to explain after why it's so good, especially for the work we do. But yeah, such a great tool.
So what programs do you guys use?
Graffiti Sketch, a lot, and Adobe Medium.
Yeah. I mean, there are more out there, but I think those are the...
Yeah, Tiltbrush is like I don't even know if it still exists. But
Tiltbrush still exists. I think Tiltbrush has some like interesting utility. Like you can animate in there. I know that I think it's Goro Fujita does quite a lot of really interesting stuff in there, which is very cool. For what we do in terms of like realistic kind of work, I don't think it's super useful. But I can imagine using it to make art.
You know what?
Do you know what I mean? Rather than concept
for
art.
Storyboarding, that could be cool.
Yeah, but just as good, I think, as Gravity Sketch would be with the posable characters.
Yeah.
One of the other ones, there's one called so before I had a computer powerful enough to plug my VR headset into, I was, because Adobe Medium takes quite a lot of processing power. It's a heavy program. And so I
surprisingly heavy.
This is how bad it was. I can't remember the name. It's called like Sculptree or something. I don't know.
I think that's I think it's called Sculptree. I heard that as well.
It's bad. It's rather, I think it's kind of a thing for kids to have fun in, but I kind of thought, I saw it and I was like, this could be good enough for me to use it as concept. Dear God, no, it was not. It even had like really weird noises when you were like sculpting with it. So if you were like,
it was like jittering the...
No, the noise. So like it made like Minecraft dirt digging sounds, like when you were like trying to erase.
Doing?
No. And it was like, it would spray like brown dirt around when you were like, it was just a really, I don't know. Well, I don't think it was made for me.
I think
I tried
any noise, even in the other softwares we just talked about, I just remove it.
Can you imagine in Photoshop?
Yeah,
when you drew it went
Like in Blender, when you move something on scale, it's like
Yeah.
Or like god.
All right, what other sound effects can we do, guys? This could be a whole
Spray
episode.
paints.
Moving,
Extruding.
extruding would sound like, yeah, it would sound like
Yeah.
that. That's right. All right, let's keep on this. This is good.
What about inflate?
yeah,
Delete the vertex.
yeah,
No, it would be like a, but like more aggressive.
Oh,
you know,
maybe,
like
yeah.
a tink.
yeah,
Oh yeah, like like the noise of a paper thrown in the trash bin.
yeah,
Like a
yeah,
stunk.
yeah.
This is
I think that's enough.
I want to do at least one more.
One more. Okay, what about the eraser?
What's the eraser?
In Photoshop, he means, right?
In Photoshop or in what program are we talking about?
Okay, so something that deletes vertices, like kind of erasing. You know, like in.
What about Boolean?
All right, Boolean, yeah, if you want.
Oh, that's a motorbike.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
It would be,
It's a lot of
it would be
motorbikes.
like
Well, if there was a motorbike in the VR,
Yeah.
that it would
That
sound,
would sound like that.
Yeah, it would sound
Yeah.
like that.
so this the Boolean.
That was too similar to some of the other sounds.
Okay.
I'm giving up. Right, well, this has been great. You know what? I know that I was the one who made us continue talking about this, and I publicly,
now you-
I regret it.
you regret it,
I
yeah.
regret it. Yeah. Anyway,
Everyone is now gone and hates
yeah.
us.
So,
Like everyone was interested in the conversations. They just went
Breaking.
I can't wait to look at the analytics for this video and just see the drop off when Stefan
Yeah.
goes.
Breaking news: Meta drops 10% shares.
You know what I'm imagining is that people turn off that segment not because they weren't interested, but because they go, "That's not what it sound like."
You know what? You know what? Is I'm gonna have a nice timestamp, which is gonna be called annoying noises, and you can just click away from it.
Start of annoying noises, end of annoying noises. Anyway, I mean, so yeah, we all use Gravity Sketch and Adobe Medium. Those are the two most common ones.
I used the W Medium once, and I've never used it before. And I really want to get into it.
It's very good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
good.
I always had like a really shitty PC. Like not a shitty PC. I always had like a notebook that didn't have there was good graphics card, but it wasn't supported for some reason. At least back then, when a lot of the graphics cards were not supported for Adobe Medium to be like for Oculus Link. Sorry, is what I want to say. Now I have way better PC and I can actually do it, but I still haven't done it. Mostly because I haven't tried using it in any of my projects. Yeah.
So I'd say that still with a good PC.
Oh yeah, I think I have a very good
better.
PC, and it really eats into that
Yeah.
GPU. Like
Even
wow,
in 3090.
I don't have a 3090. I've
Okay.
got 3080.
Oh yeah,
I think.
I've got 3070.
I have 3090.
Actually, I'm lying. I've got a 4090, and
got a 4090.
no,
Damn.
maybe one day.
Yeah. I think I have 3090 Ti or something like the.
Yo, so
Yeah.
what's up? My PC's better than yours.
No, I have.
Anyway,
I have
anyway,
Have you seen
anyway.
the RAM I have?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Gravity Sketch, Adobe Medium, aren't they great? Wow.
damn.
Yeah.
What do you guys use them for? I mean, so Gravity Sketch is so versatile. It's crazy. I genuinely think I could model the majority of my stuff in there and it's so quick. There are things that I genuinely like. For example, if you're doing a creature, the traditional way to model a creature, well, traditional, quote unquote, but the general way that people have been doing for the last 10 years is open Zbrush, use some of the little poly extendy circle things, make a little animal sculpture quickly of like just straight limbs, which looks like some jacked up dog usually. Then you start sculpting into it, extend meshes, dynamesh, blah, blah, blah. Gravity Sketch, I will give credit. I got this technique from Lloyd Allen's really good Gumroad, which he did for like dinosaurs. He's like sick at doing dinosaurs. Go into Gravity Sketch, pick the line art tool thing, that just makes like shapes essentially in space, and you just paint in the musculature of the creature, pose it however you want, import it into ZBrush, remesh it, and then all of the musculature is there already. It's already, if you have like a decent knowledge of musculature, it's the fastest way to do a creature. It is insane.
I hear you.
Okay.
I don't agree with you.
Oh, interesting.
I would use
I
Adobe
don't-
Medium.
Oh, okay. All right then.
If you want to do anything hard surface or just more like modeling heavy, less creatures, right? We're talking about creatures.
I
here.
do originally. Can I clarify something though? Because I feel like I know where you're going.
Well, I'm just finishing my point.
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
So if
okay.
you're doing creatures,
Yeah.
then I would definitely go with Adobe Medium because you do have voxels or whatever it's called, vertices.
But I think
it just works better with my personal experience.
If you're using Gravity Sketch, I think the difference between Adobe Media and Gravity Sketch for this specific kind of thing is if I want to do something really fast, Gravity Sketch every day, man. It's so quick especially when you consider like a lot of the work that we do, right, as concept artists is often we'll be doing a lot of design work, but sometimes it's inputting a design into a nice keyframe or into a nice environment. And if I need a T-Rex done, it's like, do I boot up Adobe Medium, kind of deal with the interface problems, have to like pick the right resolution, or do I just go straight into Gravity Sketch, bang, 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 it takes me half an hour, model the whole dinosaur, quick remesh in Blender, it's good enough for a keyframe at that point.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna be able to like the modeling tools for animals, like just you have more freedom and you have more control on the meshes.
You should both do a challenge.
Well, I've done creatures in both.
Yeah.
And I would just, so have you done creatures in both, Jules?
I've done loads of creatures in Medium and it's very fast.
Looks like you,
Looks like I found the right way to do it and I keep doing it because it's fast. Well, most of my previous creatures were done as a start in Adobe Medium just because I've had the struggle of what Dan described earlier is to start in ZBrush. ZBrush is an amazing software.
Oh,
it's
it is good. I like
software.
it to detail stuff.
I really like it.
You like it for everything, yeah.
For organic stuff, I wouldn't do Arts of Us in there. But
I bet you try.
I wouldn't.
You?
Huh?
I bet you try it.
Well, I tried it and it was awful. There's a tutorial from Pablo Dominguez. Which is a great tutorial, but I was like,
wasn't for you.
Yeah, I mean Blender, I guess. Anyway, so the thing that you described earlier, Daniel, about getting the first shapes done, and it's a bit awkward because it's still a PC, you're still using a tablet, so you don't really see the shape in front of you, and VR just brings you. I was correct. VR just brings you that
into the space,
natural feel. And if you want to, I was doing a bat the other day. If you want to do a bat and do it quickly and you have the right proportions, it's just going to be effortless in VR. You don't have to think, how do I do that? You just do it.
Yeah.
There's no like how, and if you don't want to do it, if you want to just, which is what I think about VR Medium, is that you can just take the move tool and just move your mesh around. You can erase some of it. The Gravity Sketch doesn't allow so much errors in your mesh.
I don't know, I disagree. But I think it's also like, at the end of the day, it's like 3D code to ZBrush. It's like whatever works for you. For me personally, I use them for very different things. Like Gravity Sketch, if I want to do something faster, I'm always going to do it in Gravity Sketch personally because I am faster in it. Whether that's the case for you or not, is your thing. But I think the thing that I like about Gravity Sketch for creatures is, like I said, being able to put in the muscles. Mm-hmm. So putting in the groupings of muscles and stuff like that, I find is really effective because then when you bring it into a more normal modeling software like Blender or ZBrush to sculpt, you have that like underlying tissue kind of there in a way, and that's a little bit more difficult to do in Medium. But I've done creatures in Medium as well, and if I just don't want the faff of having to, do everything in ZBrush and model like a really nice creature's face, doing it in Medium is so easy. And you know what? When you were saying that it's really easy to learn, I think the perfect example of this is that I gave my brother one kind of holiday when we were both together at home. I gave him my VR headset because he does fashion design and he wanted to try using these programs to design some clothes. And he was able to make a competent model in Gravity Sketch within half an hour to an hour of opening the software, that does not happen in any traditional modeling software.
Imagine ZBrush.
Yeah. It took me half an hour to figure out how to put lightbox mode on ZBrush and open a project file.
Yeah.
But even in Adobe Medium, I feel like it's more complicated to learn than. Yeah, that's what like put me over until probably I will learn it soon. But I think it put me over from Adobe Medium is because it looks more complicated.
There's a very nice set of tutorials they have. It's like maybe 5 or 6 2-minute videos. Yeah. Which is built into the software and gets you to 90% of the stuff.
I will say, since we're not being sponsored by any of these companies, so a little bit of criticism is valid, to really learn Gravity Sketch well...
Where are you part of?
Well, that's what I was about to say. I actually I gave some criticism to the company some while ago because I was using it so much and they kind of asked for my opinions on it. And as part of that, I also got like a little learning tutorial from them for like how other companies and other artists use it. So they were showing me like the most common processes. And that was stuff that I'd never seen online. And it was stuff that's part of the program, but it's just difficult to do or difficult to figure out because one of the problems is it's really easy to start doing, but to get some of the more finessed points because it doesn't have a traditional UI where you press like file, edit, whatever.
Like vertices and stuff like that.
Yeah, edit vertices, mesh transform, remesh or whatever. Like, because it doesn't have that, sometimes it's like, okay, to get this option up, you have to swing the controller around your head and then jump up and down 3 times, and then you have that function.
You know what? This might be why you feel like it's easier for you to do some organic stuff in Gravity Sketch, is because these tools. I mean, again, I've been using it for 3 months seriously, so I haven't gone that deep into it. And I guess with the knowledge I have in 3D softwares like Zbrush and Blender, sculpting or whatever, probably Medium is more straightforward because I have the same set of tools I'm used to in ZBrush in a way, and I can get to decent results by using the default tools, which you just press on the button to have them, right?
Yeah.
It is different type of modeling. It's like NURBS modeling in Gravity Sketch, and like, I guess I take it a little bit for granted that I started learning Gravity Sketch very early, like when it was, not that it came out at that point, but like, it was quite like probably 5 years ago or 6 years. I don't remember. Like,
I think you probably did start learning it when it properly was like released.
I think so. So like,
that's very early.
Like it changed a lot since then. Like at the beginning, there was no like meshes that you can make. Like it was all just like you can extend a bunch of. Anyway, and I can't explain it, but like it was still it was quite simple and really cool to use. And I wanted to actually put my little bit of segue on this, talking about Gravity Sketch and my use, because at the beginning we were mentioning that like I don't use it as much anymore, and I would say that I am making a return to Gravity Sketch.
It's back.
Yeah,
but 23.
After 3 years away.
And I was thinking about it like
you gained muscle.
Yeah, muscle. What do you mean?
He's bigger. He's better.
Muscles. You're bigger, stronger.
Yeah.
Stefan tied weights to his VR headset, so that only after a certain amount of training,
his neck is getting massive.
He was like, I can only use this again once I'm this big.
Dude, we should talk a little bit about. I have a friend who probably does 10 hours a day in VR. He must have clocked in terms of the actual work. He must have clocked in, outside of the devs, the most amount of hours in Gravity Sketch in the world. I would almost not doubt that.
He is the singular person who I do believe would join the metaverse.
Yeah, he knows. He's
not going to join. He's going to be like the maker.
Yeah,
any tool like in Gravity Sketch.
Legendary
creature.
Yeah, but he knows everything in that program.
Yeah, but I want to say, so I used to do vehicles, and I found it that it wasn't as useful for the types of vehicles that I was doing at the time, which I can't really talk about because that would be NDA, but I can just say that for the vehicles that I was working on, I felt it wasn't as useful.
Here's my NDA.
No, and but for the stuff that I'm doing, maybe in personal work, it is turning out to be more useful now, and I think that's why I'm making come back to it.
I think what's also really cool. Well, okay, number one, you can sketch in there, which is just like insane. To be able to sketch in 3D, I love that. I think I do so much sketching in sketchbooks, and I do love sketching just generally. But being able to sketch out a fighter jet is really quite a unique thing.
I think that's the first thing everybody does. Like either an helicopter or a fighter jet, and then you just duplicate it many times, and then you have an epic fighting scene, and then you have some people on the ground.
Do you mean like model properly, or do you mean just sketch it?
I'm talking about, I think both, but I think it's really cool to be able to really, it is a great way to just get your ideas out there, and to be able to, like, it's being able to rotate it and scale it up to a size where you're standing next to it full scale, or to get into the cockpit. Like, I remember when Stefan first showed it to me, one of the things that like really blew me away, number one, I was on Mount Everest looking at sunset, but number two, he showed me the vehicle that you did for your final year project, which was really cool, and you did in Gravity Sketch. And he made it so that I could like sit in the cockpit, and the
really?
cockpit was fully modeled in Gravity Sketch. And that was something where I was like, wow, it's quite difficult to model a cockpit, because
Was
it's
it well
in-
modeled?
Well,
No, but it would look like a cockpit.
No, I'm asking because
What I mean is, like-
I don't feel like with the current skill I have in Gravity Sketch, I couldn't do a good.
I think
I couldn't do a good.
What
I
Daniel
think
was
I think
well-modeled.
I think I could do a good cockpit now.
Yeah, but what
I think
what-
you could do a good one now.
Yeah, I think what Daniel was about to say is like I put myself into the cockpit and I could put everything in the correct reach, So I could be like how useful, like I could design the actual cockpit in how it would work,
Yeah.
functional. Be like, oh, this should be this far away. This should be this far away.
I think I remember
Yeah.
that you made it so you could pull the cockpit on and off as well, the roof. as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. Yeah, So I made sure that it, so, and that would be, I mean, very difficult. Like in Blender.
Or not even that.
Like that
How
quick-
how else would you get that experience? You'd have to build it for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
So to be able to, even if it's like let's be real, like that model that you made was not particularly clean, but even a super messy model, the immersion of sitting in it was so crazy to me. I was like, wow, this is really a way to design something on a more human level, which I think is really important. and
I
cool.
think that's also why now many studios, they actually, like when they show something to a client
show
or
it,
like
yeah.
previs or like Unreal concept art design kind of thing, they just have it in VR, and then the director is going to be interact with it in a much effortless way.
There
you
was
know?
even a freelance project I worked on
Yeah.
where I helped design this space,
Mm-hmm.
and then they were looking for different camera angles in the space. So I was sending them concepts of painted up different camera angles and stuff. But what they did was they actually brought the director into the studio. They all put on VR headsets
Mm-hmm.
together, and he walked around the space and looked for camera angles, which
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, wow, that's awesome. Like, what again, like a novel way to interact with something that for like the last 20 years has been quite immaterial because it's CGI or VFX or whatever. To be able to see it in like some level of rendering, even in like grayscale, is awesome.
So in the previous job I had, I'm not going to go in more details, but we had some people just coming and being in VR and getting us screenshots from the VR stuff from the Unreal level, and it was so cool. Exactly what you said.
Yeah,
And,
I think it is a really. Is it the kind of thing like I think one of the things that people always get overexcited with new technology. So I think like, is this going to be the way that films are made? No, like probably not. Like there's plenty of just normal uses for a computer screen which are fine. You don't need to be doing everything like that, but it is great. I'm also gonna like really hard segue, by the way. Sorry about this, but I think one of the other cool things about Gravity Sketch specifically as a VR program is the collaborative element of it. So after
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
We did a mech together in there. You remember ages ago, like a fighting mech.
yeah,
That was the first like proper collaborative
Yeah.
that we tried. It was like a boxing mech.
Yeah, I thought weren't you meant to render and do
yeah, I
keyframes of
know.
that?
I still haven't done it.
What happened to that, man?
Just
Wow, you just brought that. Wow, neither of us remembered that. Now you have to go and do it. It's on the internet now. People would be like,
Okay.
"Where's the fighting mech?" But yeah, I
People
mean,
take
if
keep
enough,
him
if
accountable
enough
for that.
people message in the comment section, where's the fighting mech? I will do a keyframe.
that's desperate, bro.
And by enough, I mean I can decide how.
But
much
enough is like one.
It's me. I type it in the comments. Yeah, but what? So after I did the thing with Gravity Sketch, the like a little learning thing. One of the other things that they helped me do was, I think we already followed each other on Instagram. But Min Gwen, who is a super good artist, who I'd looked up to for a very long time, he also very heavy user of Gravity Sketch and VR programs, and he's one of their. I think he's like one of their called like I don't know co-pilot people or something. He's one of the big artists who they collaborate with on a regular basis, and I was able to do through them a collaboration session with him where we went into VR, we went into the same space, and we modeled stuff together, and that was really cool. That was like a really interesting way to do things. And the other great thing is they've built in features so that you can see people's controllers and what they're pressing. So he was able to do stuff like he was doing like, I don't know, like some brush stroke or something in the sky. And I was like, how do you do that? And he was like, oh, okay. So you can see my controller, right? And we'd shrink down to the same size. And he'd be like, and he'd hold I'm miming holding a controller up, but he would hold his controller up to me and he'd go, so I press this button, right? Then you swing it around above your head. Then you jump forth. No, it's not real. But yeah, you press this button, then you press this button, and then you make this motion and that happens. And it was cool because you can't even, even in.
Surely they should just do a better UI design. I'm sorry.
Well, that's something I
think
said,
it's-
but
I think it's really also the nature of the program, right?
well, okay. Look. Can I put out?
It's
Can I,
not hard
can
to
I
make-
say what I said? Because I think it's a sensible solution. The problem is, I think that they're probably. Man, I can't believe I'm giving
I'm pretty sure you told
corporate
me this.
advice
I'm
right
probably
now.
like,
But like you can, it's made for so many different people. It's made for car designers, it's made for product designers, industrial designers. And what they should do is they should go to the people who they work with on a regular basis and say, what are the tools that you use the most, and make custom interfaces.
Oh yeah, like
So,
Blender.
yeah, so you have like the industrial designer interface, the sketching interface, the concept art interface, the 3D modeling interface, and that way you would have different button layouts that would better match what you're trying to do,
Yeah.
rather than trying to hide a million functionalities.
can I segue more?
Go
Because
for
this
it.
is all about segues. I want to come back to Jama, Mr. Jama, Revive.
Okay.
You want to come back to your personal project you haven't rendered?
No.
Jama, yes.
Yeah. And say how much this guy like was just influencing everyone to get onto VR. It was absolutely insane. Like I think VR and concept art did not exist before Jama made a talk about it and using it, and then everyone was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!"
But it was quite financially inaccessible at the time as well. So it was like,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, when we're talking about like the reason that
Oculus Quest is like what made it possible.
Oculus Quest was a game changer, but it was also, I mean, just a little bit of corporate history here. The reason it became accessible was because obviously Facebook made their big push with Metaverse, and part of that push was that they were making the Quest on a loss. So that's why they were at 300.
Probably still happening.
Probably still happening. And that's why they were £300 for so many years, because they were making them at a loss to encourage more people to buy them, which is amazing for us.
Yeah.
I imagine it will probably end soon to some extent, but they'll still stay more affordable.
I still have the Oculus Quest, the
Yeah.
original.
Oh yeah.
I broke my original one.
Yeah.
I punched a wall,
Yeah,
so I had to buy a new one.
Daniel's control. Every time I came down to Daniel's place, this is when we were still not like flatmates. Every time I came down, his control was looking like more and more damaged. And then
More
one day,
destroyed.
just Daniel's ghost is not working.
I was doing, I can't remember, I think I was playing the boxing game. So there's a really good game called Fight. Dude, what's it called? Something the Fight?
Fury fight, Fury of the Fight.
Thrill of the Fight.
Thrill
of the Fight.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's a boxing game where the force that you put into the punch is proportional to like how much you damage the other boxer. And so you really have to put your fucking weight behind
Great way
it.
to destroy your elbows.
It's
You
good
know what?
workout too.
It's weirdly.
You're just punching into the emptiness.
No, but
that
I-
must not be good. No?
Jules, I had
Well, my elbows are different.
It's weird, no, but it's weird because I had shoulder surgeries, shoulder injuries, and I did the boxing game and I felt fine.
I feel pretty good doing
it.
it.
Weirdly, you feels fine. I mean, like I wasn't overextending. Like I know my body really
Yeah.
well. I know I shouldn't be doing certain movements. So I was like keeping within like the normal limit, but I was still like going. Kind
Yeah.
of, like,
It's
at
an
it,
awesome
and that was
workout
fine, yeah.
as well. Like
Yeah.
it's really fun, and you really like you do sweat. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
good cardio.
It's
But anyway,
it's insane.
that's how I
Like,
broke that
and
controller.
it's funny because like
It was a nice wait. It was a nice overhand right, straight into my fucking wall.
I think overall that's a big thing with with VR is that it's just very fun. It's hard not to have fun no matter what you do, and that's why just sculpting in there or playing any game is just fun. And
It feels like a nice break from normal work.
yeah, and it also feels effortless.
Yeah, when I have a project where I'm like, I can use VR like on this. I'm not like, oh
Yeah, you're like,
VR.
yes.
I'm like, finally,
yeah.
I can escape reality for a moment. But yeah, it's just fun. It's good.
When I got the headset, I was finding all the excuse I could to link to use it
Yeah.
for my work. Basically, I was like, oh, I have to model this container. I'll do it in VR.
Yeah.
Very bad idea. It would be much faster to do in Blender, right? But I was, oh, yeah, let's do it, and it was fun.
I would say like my one issue and like kind of worry about with it sometimes is when I work in VR is like how usable will be the model that I'm using, and I think that's down to just kind of not using it enough. I think like for like Daniel, for Jules I guess as well, but specifically talking Gravity Sketch, I feel like when you are just very starting out in Gravity Sketch or you don't have enough experience or blah blah blah, like it's more difficult to make useful models. in
Yeah,
Gravity
But they
Sketch.
still can be used. I think
Yeah,
it's like I think the difference is like now I can make a fairly clean model in Gravity Sketch, which then it's both fast and good looking. There's some shapes that I can make in Gravity Sketch that would take a lot of planning in Blender to make.
But I'll also say, like, I've learned over time that if I'm gonna make a model, whether it's in Blender or in Gravity Sketch, I'm gonna start with a lot more simple building blocks.
Yeah.
Like when I started out doing Gravity Sketch initial, just like tons of sketches, tons of lines, and then the whole thing would just become a mess, and it would be impossible for me to like split around the mesh. But now I make the meshes, for example. Like I'm working on like a sci-fi project, or I guess you can say it is sci-fi.
It is a sci-fi project.
Yeah. It's like a mix, but
It's personal work.
Personal work. Yeah, it is a personal work.
We both had the same route. Yeah. We're like, okay, let's save Stefan.
No, it is and I'm working on this mecha thing, whatever. And I found that I've built it out of like simpler objects, simpler blocks that still have the shape. So then when I put it into Blender, then I can just still play around with it. I can still separate the objects, I can still play with the proportions, and I still keep adjusting it, because I like seeing it in VR, I also like seeing it on the 2D screen and be able to like check the proportions out and change them if I want to. And if you have like a super messy mesh in Gravity Sketch, it's impossible to do that after change.
You know what?
That's how I do
I'd say, if to go back to the Gravity Sketch versus Medium thing.
We should probably talk about Medium for at least 5 minutes.
Yeah. But is that Medium tends to give you more messy stuff, right? Because
very messy.
Because it's very dense. Because it's not made to be really used like Gravity Sketch.
Like I feel like Medium is like almost, when you do Medium, you definitely go like, okay, this is gonna be kind of finished model. You don't go like,
no,
never.
Okay. So the Medium models, the messiness of them is insane. It's like
no
other
because
program.
it's not so. Gravity Sketch is a CAD, right?
No, poly.
What?
It used to be NURBS modeling.
You can still do NURBS in there, I think.
You can still do a lot of it is NURBS.
Yeah,
and
Blender
it's
CAD,
mixed with
it's poly.
Okay, I'm just confusing then.
SketchUp and Fusion are CAD.
Okay, my bad. Okay.
Or Rhino. Rhino's CAD.
Yeah. So it's a poly, and then Adobe Medium is voxels, which is same as Blender.
3D code.
Which is same as 3D code, and it works in a similar way in ZBrush.
Yeah, ZBrush has some unique system that isn't quite voxels.
It's not voxels, but it's spits out the same mesh.
It's some weird like 2D to 3D rendering process or something.
So it's basically very dense meshes, which are hard to modify if you're not using these softwares. So I will not use... The main issue I have with VR overall is that it's a great tool, but I will not use it for anything more than starting a project or sketch. It might be because I don't have enough knowledge on how to make clean stuff, but I would use it to do a sketch, figure out proportions, figure out design elements, just getting things quickly in 3D. And then from that, I would export to either Blender or ZBrush, and I would either go back to some sketching, getting some random sketching, or just develop my idea with a better tool.
Yeah, there's some professional work that I've done, specifically set design, which I can think about and think of how precise some of that stuff had to be. I mean, some of those designs not only had to be precise and like kind of not down to the inch, but down to a certain measurement. But they also have to be highly editable, because there were changes that were coming through every day for like, can we have a bevel here? Can we Boolean that out? And so the mesh needs to be pliable, right?
Yeah.
And if I did any of those projects in Gravity Sketch, they wouldn't, or a Medium, it wouldn't be precise. It wouldn't be editable, and it would fall apart within a day. Which I don't think is a problem. It's kind of a feature in a way. It's kind of just like how these programs are built. I wouldn't want it to be precise in a way.
Yeah. No, it's meant to be this quick thing that gets you very quick results. But you can't get, sadly, you can't get amazing results very quickly. It just doesn't.
I think it depends what kind of style and look you're going for. Like you can get very clean models in both Gravity Sketch and Adobe Medium if you have enough skill, I think. Not that I'm saying you don't, but like it's more like knowing the specific processes.
Yeah.
Like especially in Adobe Medium, as in something like ZBrush, you have to know like the right time to remesh, the right time to increase resolution, the right way to break up the shape into different objects and stuff like that. And by doing that, you can get a much better quality thing.
I think we've all seen like these models where people go, "Oh, I made it in GraphicsSketch. Oh, I made it in
Yeah, it's
Adobe
very
Medium." You go like,
surprising what
"What the
people can do,
heck?"
yeah.
Like, how is that
I
even
think
possible?
as well, I might be completely lying. I'm pretty sure there's a creature that Andrea Ciampo designed
Yes.
in Adobe Medium,
I
and
know
it's
which one you're talking
very
about.
good.
You're talking
Very
about the
clean.
underwater kind of
Yes,
leech.
yeah,
thing.
and that looks just
Yeah.
as good as anything out of ZBrush. And I think just to add on
It
to that,
yes,
Can I-
it
can-
did. It
yeah.
was a very specific creature that
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
very well fitted to the tool.
Yeah, but I can also just say that when we're talking about like, it's not making the cleanest meshes. We are concept artists after all, and a part of being a concept artist is having 2D skills and the ability to paint, the ability to edit things, not in 3D. Like, you shouldn't be wholly reliant on 3D.
Yeah.
And I think 99% of the time, if I had a short turnaround to make an image, right, not a design necessarily, but an image, then yeah, I can smash something out in Adobe Medium or GravitySketch, and it's going to be good enough that plus my painting skills plus
Yeah.
some photo bash,
Yeah.
perfect. And there's almost no point in making something better than it.
I fully agree. And part of choosing a pipeline or a process is like you have a set of tools and you choose which one is the less awkward
Yeah.
for set tasks.
Yeah.
And I think that's where VR is great for the starting point or to get things quickly. And then it gets to a point where it's a bit more awkward to do precise things in VR or to push a model a bit further in VR. It gets more awkward, maybe because of lack of experience, also probably because of the tool.
Well, I'd never want to do a finished model in there.
Yeah,
personally.
Finally.
me either.
Not finally, but let's talk about some games.
It's the end, apparently.
Let's
But
say
no,
it
I
finally.
want to say just one more thing. That like,
No, we have a bit more time.
yeah,
That's
but like Adobe Medium,
I just
we,
feel like
we've spoken a lot about GravitySketch. Adobe Medium, if I was going to sell it to you, it's faster ZBrush. It's faster, easier ZBrush. It's worse as well, but
Yeah.
it's faster and easier.
It's very good. I don't want to do a creature again without starting by using Adobe Medium.
And I would never
Because
start a creature anymore without
to
doing
me-
GravitySketch.
To me, again, some very skilled ZBrush guy who's used it for his whole life and career is going to be faster than me doing a base mesh in ZBrush.
Yeah.
This for sure. But I do think I've used ZBrush quite a lot in my very short career life. But anyway, I've used it quite a lot. And
This removes friction.
yeah, it removes friction. And I'm going to be doing a base mesh, which will have design. It's going to be just way cleaner.
Yeah.
Cleaner by the design. Is going to be faster. I won't have to iterate that much, and it will just look exactly like I have in mind. And then, boom, bring it to ZBrush. Very easy. Also, that's the good thing. VR has such easy ways to translate the files.
Yeah.
To just get the file
The,
with some
the
bridges.
cloud export on GravitySketch as well is really good.
Yeah, and Medium, it just runs from your PC, so you just save the files on your PC. And this is just, it just makes it easy to use. And then you get it, and you can use it.
Long
this way.
story short, use VR. If you, I think, look, I mean, also just say, but obviously there's a financial element to all of this. We're all professionals, and we all saved up a bit of money to buy this kind of software and this hardware. If you can afford to get it, do it.
Yeah.
I don't think, at the end of the day, if you're somebody who maybe doesn't have the money to go and just buy a new VR headset, they're expensive, then you're totally fine using normal modeling programs like Blender or whatever you can find for free. You do not need them,
I
but
agree.
they are cool things to have.
Would you recommend a student to buy VR?
Would I?
Yeah.
If they have the money, absolutely. What?
Dude, it
100%.
changed everything for me when I was in uni. I went from like being super slow in Blender and being like I can never model anything to
But
like
don't you
I can
think-
model everything.
Yeah. Don't you think students probably should spend more time learning?
No, dude, because then
Blender?
you're.
Because I think a student.
It's about design, dude.
Yeah.
It's like I can now.
Yeah, it's-
it expands your knowledge of what you can possibly do, and then you can always come back. You can always remodel. You
Okay,
can
I
always-
can I say this? I think if you were a student, right, and you learn how to render really well in Blender, and you used a bit of Sketchfab to maybe use your bases or whatever, just for like a bit of floor or a bit of background. If you had a GravitySketch model that was like you were able to do faster and more seamlessly, I think you can get the rest of the way with 2D and Photobash. And I think that's better for you as a student because I think you learn more actual, like, sorry, not actual, but I think you will learn more fundamental skills doing that process.
It's gonna emphasize on creating the asset yourself.
Yeah.
And also emphasize on design, because when you're in Gravity Sketch, you have design. You cannot not design because of how effortless it is. There's not much thought about how am I going to make it. It's very easy to make stuff. So you just have to think about design quite a lot.
There's people I've met who, you know, I show them how I feel like I'm fairly pretty efficient in Blender, poly modeling and doing hard surface in there and stuff. I'm sure there's some people who disagree.
Daniel has the weirdest Blender ever.
Okay, but well, I think it's good.
I mean, I'm not saying you're not fast, but you have the weirdest one.
But there's some people who I show like my modeling process to, even for like really basic stuff, and they'll be like, "What? I didn't know you could inset like that," and stuff like that, like basic things. And they're experienced artists who say things like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the great thing about Gravity. It's like that's the big thing about VR. You're never going to be like, "Oh, I didn't know you could inset that," because it's just easy. It's piss easy to use. So yeah, 100%. If you're a student and you have the financial freedom to buy an additional tool like this, I'd highly recommend it. Maybe you have to look at yourself, as with everything. Hey, do you put this money towards doing a mentorship with somebody?
Exactly.
Do you go and do a class? Do you...
I think there's more important skills to nail first.
Yeah.
But
if you are a competent student, I think it's a great purchase, and it's really going to open up a lot of doorways for you.
The only issue that the reason why I'm not so much like buy it is great. I think it's great, but it's not gonna get you. You can't use it to do all of it. You still need those software like Blender. You can do a project from A to Z with it. Yes. You can do all of it.
I don't think.
You know, with Gravity Sketch you can't. With Medium you can't. And if you're very good at Blender, chances are you're gonna be very good at Gravity Sketch.
Yeah.
If you're good at Gravity Sketch, I don't think you can be that good at Blender because of how much more complex it is and also how much more tedious it is to go through it and the menus and stuff. Despite Blender being quite friendly.
You know what I'm wondering? Sorry, I'm...
Go on. He was yawning in the corner there.
Oh, you know, dude. It's currently 10 p.m., guys.
You know what I'm wondering if people... If Jama...
Yeah.
I'm just coming back to Jama. If he really liked Gravity Sketch, because back then there was not that many, like, for example, Sketchfab assets, things like that, so you actually had to build your own shit. Like, remember, like, that wasn't the case. Like, if you go back maybe 4 years ago or something like that, there weren't that many people going like, oh, I'm gonna use Sketchfab, or I'm gonna use like what is it called, the other stuff that everyone uses,
Quixel.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm not gonna use Quixel. Like back then there wasn't the people who couldn't use it, so you would have to model everything you wanted in the scene by yourself, and Gravity Sketch allows you to do that basically seamlessly, you know.
Probably. I'd say yes. Did Jammer like it? Probably, yeah.
And finally, can we talk about some games? Because I feel like
I
was wondering because like Daniel was like, let's do this podcast. It's gonna be fun for everyone, and it will be like I think
I said we'd talk about games.
Yeah, we'll talk like about like bunch of, and we just end up talking about technicalities, like, oh, how does this work?
Did you play, Stefan?
Okay, so I played the zombie game with Daniel.
The zombie game. It's called Arizona Sunshine.
Only one game that exists in the world that has zombies.
No, I think there's so many good games, but I haven't really played that many. I played the Arizona Sunshine, and I unfortunately one of those people who get like the motion sickness from the playing VR games. But I played that. I played like what is it? Like a game where you can fly. Like when you're in the ISS.
Mount Everest simulator.
The ISS. So the ISS thing isn't a game; it's an interactive video.
Yeah.
I think, right? I have also watched that. It's very cool.
I did as well.
Yeah. So that's one thing about VR is there's so much cool stuff. Like in VR film,
I played ping pong. Oh, not ping pong. I think ping pong or something.
Oh yes, I did a game where I was trying to bounce the ball as many times as I could, and it felt weirdly like I was playing ping pong. Like I felt like the ball was actually bouncing anyway. Yeah.
So VR
Ping
films. VR films are really cool and unique because they are, I guess they have to structure them in a way where there's multiple viewpoints at all times rather than a single focus. So obviously the framing of a camera is what cinematography is all about. But I do think we'll see hopefully over the next few years. I don't think it's going to replace cinema or anything. Like I don't think VR films are going to become like a big thing.
No.
But I do think like there will be more VR media and more VR films. And there's some really cool stuff out there. Like there's a thing called Cosmic Bakery that you can watch.
Okay.
And it's on I think it's called the Quill videos or something. It's like a animation playlist thing. And I've played like that for my mom. I played it for my grandmother. I've played it for my friends, and it's just cute and great, and it's so immersive and fun and interactive, and it's wonderful. And there's loads of them out there. There's so much awesome stuff that people are making.
I fully agree. I need to say something that we fully skipped though.
Yeah.
Is that VR is great for us because we don't have issues with VR, but many people have a lot of issues with motion sickness.
Stefan.
And also when you
but not.
and also after I have my VR set for like an hour or two, I just feel a bit like I feel more tired at the end of the day. I feel like my eyes are hurting more.
Can I be honest? I like that about it. I kind of like that I can only use it for an hour or so.
That's good. But there is also a kind of physical disadvantage to that tool, which only allows you. It's more heavy on the body.
For some people,
but
for me, I can be sprinting around at 1,000 miles in VR, and like I know that me and Stefan have played games together, and he was like, "We have to stop now because I'm getting motion sickness," and I'm like, "Woo!" I'm like jumping around. We played a zombie game together, which I think I just carried you through that, honestly, man.
Yeah, definitely.
But
it was fun. But
I would recommend people to test it before buying.
Yeah, totally.
Because you might just end up buying one. It's like $300. It's not cheap, and you just realize you can't have it for more than 5 minutes on your head.
Yeah.
And everything we just said about it being an insanely good tool just goes to waste, and your money as well.
There was somebody I once recommended it to, and they hated it, and they blamed me for it because I told them it was good. Really? So that's the disclaimer. If you've already bought it before you've listened to this bit of the podcast, tough shit. But yeah, I mean, obviously, as with everything, it's not for everybody. So yeah, test it out if you can. That's why demos and free trials and there's like stands where you can go try it out, Currys or whatever in the UK.
If you're into concept art, I'm sure one of your friends has it.
Yeah, probably.
If not, I'm sorry.
No, come to Jules's house, check it out.
Yeah, no, Stefan's. We said.
No, that's my house too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so vote. I vote for Jules.
Me too.
It's sweet. All right.
Well, you didn't see the fourth person in the room, and the fifth.
Now they can come to our place. So.
Yeah, but there's some really cool games in VR. Like so Arizona Sunshine is a zombie game that we played.
We played like a shooting game as well. We played
Onward probably.
So yeah, we played Onward, and then there was another shooter game.
Contracted.
I think
Such
that was
great
like
names.
very difficult. Very difficult
for
me. Very easy for that.
I played a very small indie game. I think no one has heard about it.
Yeah,
it's very small. It's called Beat Saber.
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, I played that game. It was pretty fun.
Have you played?
I'm sure it's quite laggy, not quite there yet. But yeah, so that's pretty much one of the only games I played.
Do you know what's my favorite version of Beat Saber? It's not Beat Saber. It's a game called Pistol Whip, where
sounds weirdly.
Well, I like guns, so that's why I like it, because it's Beat Saber but with a gun, essentially. So you like go down these it's kind of like a linear, like those old style like arcade shooters where you had the gun in your hand that you'd pay like £1 for, and then you'd go down a corridor and it was like a corridor shooter.
Yeah.
So it's like that. There's music though, and the enemies come out to the beat, and then you have to like shoot them as the beat comes, and you can get different scores. And it's really fun. You have to try when you come around next time. But it's really, really good. And for me, Beat Saber has always been a little bit, it's not very visually stimulating for me.
Yeah.
And I find the concept of just like hitting the bricks with the, like, I'm like, oh, this is okay. But
it's fun for like a good 20 minutes after you're like, okay.
Let me hit a person with it. Now we're talking.
And we both did the boxing game as well.
The boxing game is awesome. I've done, I've probably played by far the most. I've played at least like 20
Have
VR
you
games.
guys played the Valve game? What is it called?
I
it's
have
very good. Alex.
I've heard very good things about it.
Yeah,
but
me
I've
too.
never played it.
And I've never played it either. And maybe we should.
I want to
maybe
play.
We should play it, but I don't know.
Can we play co-op?
No. Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I don't think
Maybe
so.
2-player.
Yeah.
I doubt it. I'll tell you one thing.
I've got Resident Evil. 4.
Oh.
Which it came with the thing.
Yeah.
And I played for like 5 minutes and I was like, oh, I've got to do something else. It's hard to find time. To
I
play.
was so terrified. I like did a like play test with my friend. No play test, like, but we tested it out and we had like a whole evening together playing it. Oh, dude, I was scared shit.
Can I talk about a game?
Even though I like watched the
I
whole
have one
playthrough
question.
beforehand.
All
If
right.
someone wants to buy VR just for games,
Yeah.
is it better off to get maybe some PlayStation stuff, or you think a
I
PC one is better?
So
I feel like PlayStation has a lot of very polished ones, but then they don't have Alex and they don't have a lot of other.
Yeah, but the Quest store is really good, and if you have a good
Yeah.
computer, it's really worthwhile. So do you want to talk about that more, or?
No. Also, no. Also, just for the Quest, it's you got Gravity Sketch for free
Yeah.
and Adobe Medium for free.
Yeah.
But I
true.
think that's only with the Quests.
But
so,
you also have to buy you have to buy a £3,000 PC to run Adobe Medium. So
So I have.
Yeah,
I
I'm
have
just saying it's
Adobe
free.
Medium for
Yeah.
free.
you buy it and you
Medium
yeah.
is free.
Yeah, Medium is free.
the cost of running a Medium is not free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's one talking about scary games. There's one game that I played which I found horrifying, which was it's The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners, and it's just like one of the things that's scary. It's not a visually scary game, but the way that you interact in VR is really scary. So like the zombies, number one, it like you have your reach, right? And most of the game you're using knives, and you have to
Oh,
the
you have to get very
zombies
close to
are
them.
like in your face, and they're like their hands are like reaching to your face as you're like trying to push them back and like, you know, stab them essentially. And one of the most, this is so weird to talk about, but like one of the most things that freaked me out the absolute most was you didn't just have to stab the zombie, you had to pull the knife out of the zombie. And so there was fake resistance in the game that so that the knife got like embedded in them. So you had to you'd have to like stab the zombie to stop them killing you. Then you have to grab their head and push them back with your other hand so the knife would come out. Otherwise it would get stuck inside.
That's
And
cool.
then there'd be another zombie next to you. And it was like way too much. I
there's-
refunded it after an hour of playing because it freaked me out so much.
Oh, really? Was that?
I found it really scary.
There's
but,
that game
yeah.
from this developer that makes some very interactive games, which also has a lot of physical element in there. I think they're very close to Corridor Digital.
Yeah, I've played that game. Oh dear, I can't remember what it's called though.
Yeah.
But I played it. I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I'm sure if you write Corridor Digital VR games, maybe you will find it.
Yeah.
It's not from them, but they're friends.
But it's really cool. It's like it's a more physics based game that's a little bit like Gmod. It's kind of based around.
Yeah,
What is Gmod?
Gary's Mod. You ever played Gary's Mod?
it's like a
I
massive
heard-
sandbox. And,
Yeah,
I
but-
never played it.
dude,
though.
I played Garry's Mod like once with my
I
friends
never played it.
ages ago.
But functionally it's like the same concept, just in
cool.
VR. It's quite cool. It's not the most polished thing I've ever played. And also I've got to say, physics in VR can be a little bit of a mixed bag because it's like, you know, I don't know, you get thrown around a bit and things freak out. So I do prefer a little bit more of a tailor-made experience rather than sandbox in VR, but it was still very cool. It was a fun experience for sure. So yeah, I mean, I love gaming.
I wish
Yeah.
I had less. Oh, not wish, but I mean, like, I have a lot of motion sickness when playing these games.
Yeah,
And
so you do have it.
yeah, no, if I play games and like I played this game which was super cool. I really enjoyed it. It was like an Antarctic. You're exploring this Antarctic place.
Okay.
And I think it was just called like National Geographic or whatever. And they had different places you would explore.
That was just a video.
Was one of the locations Mount Everest?
No. No, but this was just you're exploring the Antarctic. So you're on your
Nice.
canoe first, and then you climb like this ice wall. And then when you're climbing the ice wall, you put in the
Hooks.
hooks,
Yeah.
and then you move your arm, right?
And then you character.
And
moves.
your character moves, but you are in one place.
Oh, yeah.
And I instantly feel like almost like throwing up. I'm like, what? And you have to keep doing it like a few times. And I finished the game because I really just loved the atmosphere that you can get through that and the snow and all of that stuff. That was amazing. But that one part I was like motion sick the whole time.
Yeah.
And it was almost impossible. And
God.
It's
yeah.
funny because I've played some games where I think you would die in because there's like some games, like there's one game called Hyper Dash where
You just dash everywhere.
You dash everywhere, you jump like, you know, like
I
Tracer
think
in
I played
Overwatch.
it with you. Yeah.
Everybody's Tracer in Overwatch in that game, and you move so quickly and it's so fast paced. Really fun. I got really, really into it for like 3 months. But then when I went back, it was just got too difficult. It was too difficult to get back into, and it was full of 10-year-olds like flipping me off. And I was there like, "You fucking suck, loser!" And I was like, "Oh."
When we played Onward, I think that was the maximum amount that I could eventually learn how to tolerate. When you move your controller and your character moves.
Yeah.
And that's quite a slow moving game as well.
Yeah, but that was
Yeah, but
that
you know,
was
some
very
people. I
difficult.
think some people is just.
It's like being car sick or boat sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I wonder
but
if
you don't
can
really control it.
no, I
Maybe you
wonder
get
if
used to it more.
I wonder if you can get like a tolerance to it. I think because the more I played Onward, the more tolerance I got to it, the more I was like, okay, this is gonna suck a little bit, but I'll get used to it. And yeah.
Can I tell you the thing that really like solidified VR games as cool to me was? It was, I don't know if you ever saw it, because you were talking about Rocket Jump a minute ago. There was a series they did called Video Game High School, where they were all competing in this. It was like about an esports team at like this university.
I think I watched it.
Yeah. And the video game that they were playing was like this futuristic video game where it was like they were playing it like CS:GO on their PCs, but the characters were able to like jump, throw their guns, reload a mag, and throw it in somebody's
Such an
face.
old
and stuff.
memory you just brought back.
Yeah. But what I found amazing was that when I was playing these games like Onward and Contractors, I was like, I can actually, rather than, you know, like I can do those things. I can throw my gun at somebody's head, pick up a knife, throw it in the air, shoot it with a gun, and then it lands on them and I get the kill or something. Like you can do the craziest stuff. Even just
That's very super hot as well, no?
yeah. One of the things that like broke my brain for it, of like how I understood normal video games versus VR games, was when you go to a corner in Call of Duty, right? You turn the corner and then you shoot. In VR, you can put your hand around the corner and just shoot around the corner. Or you can crouch down and hide behind cover and shoot over the cover. Or you can climb over it and shoot down on people. And it's like the possibilities and the way that you move within the space are like truly insane. And like I don't think I've been able to play like an FPS properly kind of since, because they're so...
Oh yeah?
It's a different experience, I suppose. If I got into one, then I probably could. Like, but if I was thinking about like
multiplayer,
yeah,
FPS,
we should.
Yeah,
I wonder how it
never
would be
did
with
VR.
the treadmill though. Did you do because you did like actual an experience?
Yeah, so me and my partner, because she knows that I like VR, she very sweetly, we just ran it wasn't for my birthday or anything, but she just brought me to a VR like experience center. I don't know what to call it. Center sounds a bit weird, but anyway.
The fourth sense.
Yeah. But so the way that they did it was obviously with most VR games, they're not expecting you to be in the same room, but these guys had a custom setup where essentially you were able to see the other person in the same room as you. So it was all synced together. So we were playing like a zombie game, and like I could see her standing next to me shooting the zombies, and we weren't bumping into each other in real life because it was all coherent together. So that was really cool.
Nice.
But I do remember when we were playing the zombie game, we'd occasionally like punch each other by accident because we were all in the same room and just like spamming our arms around being like, oh God, there's zombies. And then you'd be too close to me or I'd be too close to you. We'd take a step back or this way or whatever. But yeah, just generally great.
Yeah, it's very nice. I think for me, it's mostly just taking the time to play a game. And if I do have the time, if I do take the time, because I do have the time, I guess, then I'd rather just play one of the games I've got on the PC or Dark Tide. Even Dark Tide I haven't played in months, man. Or just try to do personal work or just hang out with friends, you know.
That's one thing I kind of like about VR though, is it can be quite a pick up and play experience where, you know, a lot of PC games are kind of designed to keep you there for a long time.
Yeah, I guess VR, because of what we said before, it's a just shorter experience.
Yeah, and I think most developers are aware of that. So if you're playing like one of the shooting games, you're in that game 10, 15 minutes, and often you kind of, the itch is scratched, you know what I mean? Like it's so much, I don't know, it's just a different experience to playing like Call of Duty where you're like, damn, I didn't just like win the match, I like did a sick nade shot over the thing, like whatever. It's like you're a lot more in it, so it's a lot more intense.
More freedom, more like, also you probably feel like you own more your victories. Yeah. Because it's actually you doing the moves.
I've never been so excited in a, well, no, that's not true, but
I can see you very angry as well.
Yeah, I
imagine Super Smash in VR. It would be the end.
I would be screaming, yeah. But I remember one game that I was playing, I think it was Contractors, and just during the match, getting like it, because also like you have to reload the guns properly and stuff, and getting like a double kill with an assault rifle, throwing it up in the air, pulling out the pistol, and then getting a perfect wipe of the other team of like 5 or 6 people, and then just hearing them all down the mic go, "What the fuck?" And me just like, I was like cackling. I was like, "Ah!" And they were like, "This is bullshit." And
There's a crazy goblin in your room.
yeah, I was a crazy goblin.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a good time. And do you want to wrap up and give a score of VR, an arbitrary score? I give it I give it 7.5 out of 10. Useful for work, not going to take over the world. That's my little thing.
I give it a 7. It's great. It's great.
It's great.
It's not the best. It's great.
We haven't even touched.
I would not stop using it. I would not go back. So 7 out of 10.
We haven't even touched VR, AR. I feel like that was like one of the things we want to talk
Well,
about.
we'll do an AR podcast
whatever.
when AR comes
All right,
out.
wait, I'll do this quick. I don't like AR. Done.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but I would rate VR as maybe 6.8 out of 10.
Ooh,
I don't know.
it keeps going down.
Just,
Maybe the more we do rounds, the lower.
I would just say, yeah, useful for work, not for everything. Yeah, and it really depends if you can tolerate it.
Yeah.
I like how we're kind of arbitrarily rating a concept. Like maybe next episode we should rate happiness.
0.
Happiness should be 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I think that'll be the end for today's episode. We really hope you enjoyed listening. And if you want more, please feel free to subscribe, write a comment for us, like the video, and hit the notification bell. We release episodes every 2 weeks. And if you want any additional information about the podcast or the event, please be sure to check out our Instagram, which is linked in the description below. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you.